Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you a strumming etude that I wrote specifically for folks who love to strum and sing but are wanting to work on a stepping stone piece that's going to take you to that next level. So how does this song do that? Well, first off, when you jump into it, you're going to notice that what your right hand is doing is nothing complex. I didn't want to throw in any crazy complicated strum patterns or crazy strumming techniques like we did with this tune. Instead, I wanted to keep the right hand rather simple so that you can focus on what your left hand is doing. And the first thing you're going to notice with this tune is there's probably some new chord shapes that you haven't played before. So that's always a bit challenging because you've got to gain the muscle memory to get comfortable with moving between new shapes. Now, secondly, if you think about the tunes that you strum and sing, most of the time you're playing these basic cowboy chord shapes, you know, the ones we all know and love, A minor, C, G, F, those ones. They do not have a lot of melody in them. When you are strumming those chords, you are essentially just providing harmony because when you sing over it, your voice provides the melody notes. Now, this tune that you're going to learn is not a singing song. So, in essence, this tune is really a chord melody. So when you're playing the chord shapes, they're going to have the melody note integrated into them. And when you jump between one chord to the next, you get melodic movement. So really think of this tune more so as a chord melody that's presented as a strumming piece. Now, this is actually our third strumming etude. So if you enjoy this kind of playing, I'm going to link the other two strumming etudes that we've done in the description box below. But let's take a step back and let's talk about the lesson. So in this video, Matt is going to be teaching you how to play the entire tune, but if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for strumming etude number 3, and also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play. You can watch the tabs scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this tune that much easier. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this. Don't forget to grab the high G ukulele, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hello, my name is Matt Dahlberg, and today we're going to be learning strumming etude number 3 for the high G ukulele. Let's go ahead and dive into melody A. Now to start here, we're going to be playing an A minor 7 chord. We're going to play it a little bit differently than all open, which is how we normally play an A minor 7. Instead, we're going to play index finger here on the 5th fret of the G string and ring finger here on the 7th fret of the C string. It's really critical when you play these to have a good arc with the fingertips, because if you get lazy with it and your hand kind of comes down, you're going to get buzzing on the E and the A strings from these fingers sort of touching. So you want to make sure it's a really nice angle, nice and steep with those fingers, giving the pressure with the thumb behind to kind of hold up the ukulele. A little challenging if you haven't done a chord like this before. So we're going to be playing this chord, and we're going to be using strumming to play through this. We're going to start here with a down strum, just using our index fingernail across all 4 strings. And because it's a quarter note, that's going to be a downstroke followed by a miss coming up, bringing the hand up without striking the strings. We're then going to follow this with another downstroke, but this one is a single note strum. We're going to take our thumb and we're going to pluck just the G string as our hand moves down. If you've done a ghost note technique before, it's fundamentally the exact same thing. It's just that thumb striking the G, so we kind of come out at an angle a bit so that we don't hit the other ones while bringing the hand down. Because this is also a quarter note, we're going to bring our hand back up for the 2 and. Then we're going to do another downstroke with our index finger. That's going to be 3 and, bringing the hand back up. And then we're going to finish this measure with a down up with our index finger, 4 and. So the whole measure, with me sort of counting it out, it looks something like this. It goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. and. See how I'm keeping that hand moving with our 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm not going to break down every measure in this same way because we want to just develop that sort of sense of rhythm with the hand moving down and up. Don't worry, we'll still be talking about it in time and everything. Just when in doubt, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Keep that hand moving. So in time, measure 1 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to the second measure here, we're going to play an A minor 6 chord, really cool tense chord. To play this, what I want you to do is actually take your middle finger and place it here on the 6th fret of the C string. And I want you to do this before measure 2, because what you can then do is when you get to measure 2 is you just take the ring finger off and you're there at 5, 6, 0, 0 to create that nice, cool tense chord. And then what we're going to do with this chord is we're going to do the exact same strum pattern we did before, which is going to be the down, G, down, down, up, for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And measures 1 and 2 together, again, starting with that middle finger on the 6 so that you can just take the finger on and off, should sound something like this when you play them both in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. What's really cool about this is as we go on to measures 3 and 4, they should look very familiar because they are exactly identical to measures 1 and 2, except for one small little change at measure 3. So when we start measure 3, we're going to play the 5, 7, 0, 0, the same chord we just did on measure 1. That's going to be the down there, then the single note G, and then another down on the 5, 7, 0, 0. And then for the last down up, this is where the very small change comes into play. For the down, we're going to take our pinky finger and place it here on 9 of the C string. So we have 5, 9, 0, 0. And what this will do is it'll double up our A note. So we get this nice little melodic movement. This is really quite tricky. I like leaving my ring finger on with this pinky as I go through, but getting that pinky up there, again, it's the same thing I talked about at the beginning of this tutorial. We want to make sure that we have a nice steep angle so that the finger doesn't come down and get other strings touched. Very tricky little transition, but good one to practice. And after we've done that down, we come up on the 7. So then it's the same as measure 1. So just that one note difference. And so if I play the count there, it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in time it's going to be 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to measure 4, exactly the same as measure 2. So we go down to that A minor 6 chord, 5, 6, 0, 0, and it's exactly the same, which in time sounds like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And measures 3 and 4 together should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. From here we go on to measure 5, introducing this F major 7 chord. We're going to do a little bit of finger flip-flopping. I like to use my middle and ring fingers for this. The middle finger goes up to the 5th fret of the G string, ring finger underneath to the 5th fret of the C string. You'll notice that the fingers kind of have to tilt different directions. The ring finger kind of tilts a little bit outward this way. The middle finger tilts a little bit inward this way. We're just trying to squeeze those fingers in. What I find helps is making sure that you overall have the hand and the wrist here tilted out towards the headstock to kind of fit it in. But we're going to play this chord for this full bar here on 5, exact same rhythm that we've done on each other measure, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and exactly the same strum pattern. In time that should sound like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. From here we go on to measure 6, which is going to be this cool little A minor chord. To play it, take your index finger, add it here on the 4th fret of the C string, take your ring finger off the 5th fret of the C string, and what that does is it'll level out your hand so that your fingernails are more straight up and down with the wrists more straight up and down. And we're going to be playing this for 2 beats. So we start with 1 down strum, 1 and then for the second beat we're going to go 2 and, a down and an up on this chord. After this, we go to an A sus2 chord, and to play this, an A sus2/D, we're going to take this index finger and slide it down 2 frets to 2 on the C. Take the middle finger off and add the ring finger here on 4 of the G. So we have 4, 2, 0, 0, and we're going to do the same rhythm we did with the A minor just a moment ago, which is we're going to go 1 and 2 and in the count of the measure, that's 3 and 4, and effectively just a down, miss, down, up. So measure 6 is fairly straightforward despite having 2 chords. It's going to start with that A minor, 1 and 2, and then the new chord, the A sus2/D, 3 and 4, and in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the measure pair together now, measures 5 and 6, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going now to measure 7, we're going to play a trusty A chord, and we're almost there. The index finger just slides down 1 more fret to 1 on the C, add the middle finger here to 2 on the G. We're going to do the exact same pattern we've done on most measures, same one we did on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to be our 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and in time that's going to be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And going into measure 8, this is a really fun part. We're going to be playing this A chord on our first downstroke, and we're going to be switching chords every strum. So that means on this next one, we're going to do an up strum, and we're going to switch. Take your ring finger, add it on the 2nd fret here on the C string, come up. Then for the next down strum, we're going to slide these 2 fingers up 2 frets to 4 and 4 on the G and C. Do a downstroke here. Then we're going to come up, adding the index finger here to 2 on the E string. How cool is that, right? And then we're going to do another down, taking the 2 off, leaving the fingers where they are. And then an up, sliding them back down to 2, 2. And finally a down to finish it on the A chord, 2, 1, 0, 0. So the count here is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty cool, right? In time, it's going to sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And measures 7 and 8 should sound something like this together. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And from here, it actually repeats. We go back to measure 1. We play measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then instead of going to 8 again, that was the first ending, we go on to measure 9, which is our second ending. And so to play measure 9, what we're going to do is we're going to play an A chord, which is 2, 1, 0, 0. And we're going to do the downstroke there. That's going to be 1 and. The next chord is going to be that 2, 2, 0, 0. So just add that ring finger on the 2nd fret. Do another down, 2 and. Then we're going to slide this up 2 frets to 4, 4, 0, 0. Another down, 3 and. And then finally we're going to slide both of these up to 7 and 7. And we're going to do another down. And we're going to be doing that as 4 and. And that finishes measure 9. In time, measure 9 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now that you can hear it though, because this ends melody A. Let's hear all of melody A together. I'm going to start here on measure 1. I'm going to go measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. From here we go on to melody B. Melody B is going to use the same sort of strum pattern. If you're getting comfortable with it now, it's going to pay the dividends here because a lot of it's the same pattern. But we're going to introduce some new chords. We're going to start here with a D minor chord. Now, this D minor chord is kind of tricky because I want you to play it a certain way for practice. The way that we're going to play this D minor looks like this. What this is a 2-finger D minor. We're trying to take our middle finger and play both the G and the C strings, doing what's called a partial bar, which means I'm striking those two on the 2nd fret with the middle finger, and the E and the A are both left open from the middle finger. The way that this chord can work best is you find that little divot on your middle finger right there, and you stick your C string into that divot, and then you push and kind of work on the flexibility off. Obviously, our fingers are not supposed to bend backwards like this, but that is where we can get a little bit more flexibility. So with time and practice, we can get it as a 2-finger D minor, then taking the index finger, placing it on the 1st fret of the E string. If this is challenging for you, that's okay. It was very challenging for me at first too. You can play a D minor the old-fashioned way, that's okay, but I want you to work on this way just to get comfortable with because it'll pay, again, dividends later. So, D minor here, we're going to do our same pattern that we've been doing. That's the down, G, down, down, up. Same one we've used on measure 1 and most of the measures of the tune. In time, measure 10 should sound like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to measure 11, we switch to a B flat major 7 chord. To do this, take your ring finger, place it on the 3rd fret of the G string, take your your middle finger, and move it down to the 2nd fret of the C string, leaving your index finger where it was. So you add this, move this, 3, 2, 1, 0. We're gonna do a down, G, down, down, up. Exact same rhythm we've been doing throughout this song, same as what we just did on 10. Measure 11 in time sounds like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. From here we go, well, let's go ahead and hear measures 10 and 11 together before we move on. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. From here we go on measure 12, we're going to play a C6, take this same shape, move it up 2 frets, so we have 5, 4, 3, 0 with our ring, middle, index. We're going to do the same rhythm, down, G, down, down, up. In time, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to measure 13, we're going to do the same rhythm, but now with an A minor chord. Take your middle finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the G string, just like so, 2, 0, 0, 0. We're going to do our down, G, down, down, up. Same rhythm that we've been doing. In time, sounds like this, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Super straightforward, right? So measures 12 and 13 together should sound something like this, 2 and 3 and 4 and. see that we're taking it a little bit faster right now because this is the same rhythm we've been using. So you should be getting comfortable as you work on this newer section. From here, we go on to measure 14, and hey, kind of a cool thing. Measures 14 and 15 are exactly the same as measures 10 and 11. No variation or differentiation at all. So we just play those as we just did, which in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going on to measure 16, it's not the same as what we played on measure 12. It's going to be now an F chord. Middle finger on the second fret of the G string, index finger here on the first fret of the E string. And you'll notice that first fret of the E string is from the previous chord too, so you just kind of leave it on there. We're going to do the same rhythm here on measure 16, and in time that sounds like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... From here we go on to measure 17, a little bit different of a rhythm here. We're going to do straight down strokes, so that's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to switch chords each time we do this. We're going to start with this really cool E minor, index finger on the 4th fret of the C string, pinky finger here on the 7th fret of the A string. We're going to strum down through these 4 strings. And then we're going to do the next down, moving both of these fingers up 1 fret. So we have 0, 8, 0, or excuse me, 0, 5, 0, 8. Nice and tense sound there. Then the next thing is going to be moving back down to the 4 and 7. And then we're going to play an everyday C chord. I like to use my ring finger jumping down here to the 3rd fret of the A string on that down strum. So 17 in time should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 16 and 17 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Kind of turns around. I accidentally hit up with my ring finger there. Just the single strum on the C chord. Being Italian, talking with my hands too much. But you can hear how this sort of turns it around. It's kind of the first half of melody B. And it creates this, really nice sound going back into the next part here, which is on measure 18. It goes back to our D minor, the one that we talked about at the start of melody B, our preferably 2-finger D minor. But then it throws a curveball here. This is a harder part of the song. We're going to play a D minor here, and now we're going to do a very different rhythm. We're going to do the D minor, and then we're going to take all of our fingers on our left hand and we're going to mute the strings. Just lightly touch the strings, all 4 fingers sort of touching the strings nice and softly to create this muted sound. And as I do this muted sound, I'm doing a downstroke with my playing hand. You see I'm moving the hand up a little bit. The reason is because the next chord I'm going to play is 0, 5, 5, 5 with my index finger across the C, E, and A strings. I'm going to do a down, up there. This rhythm is what we're going to be using for the next 6 bars of this tune. That rhythm being a down, mute, down, up, down, up. Specifically with a low chord, mute, and a higher chord. And the count there is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In time, it should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to bar 19 now, we're going to be playing the B flat major 7 we did before. 3, 2, 1, 0 with our ring, middle, index fingers. We're going to do the same thing. Down strum here. Take these fingers, mute the strings by just releasing the pressure. And then we're going to be moving up to 5, 6, 5 on the C, E, and A. So it's like a G chord, right? But moved up to the 5th fret. So index finger on the 5th fret of the C, ring finger here on the 6th fret of the E, and middle finger here on the 5th fret of the A. And I'm going to do a down, up there. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and same exact rhythm. In time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the pair now, measures 18 and 19, sound like this. You can hear the rhythm repeated with the different chords. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to measure 20, we're going to play our C6 we did earlier in the song, 5, 4, 3, 0, ring, middle, index on the G, C, and E strings. Same rhythm we did a moment ago, which is going to be our down, and then our muted strum, where we release the pressure with the fingers and add the pinky there, right? All the fingers are just lightly touching. And as I do that mute, I'm going to move up now to 7, 8, 7 on my C, E, and A with my index, ring, and middle fingers. It's exactly the same as what we played a moment ago on that B flat 6, just moved up 2 frets. So it's like a G chord up at the 7th fret. And we're going to go down, up on that. So that measure, 20, sounds like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and... See, it's exactly the same as 18 and 19 rhythmically, low chord, high chord, just switching it up. As we go into measure 21, we're going to play our A minor chord, basic everyday A minor. You can use the index finger here on the first fret, or second fret, excuse me, of the G string. And after we do a down strum there, we're going to do the muted strum, fingers just lightly touching. And then we're going to go up to 0, 4 with the middle finger, 5 on the E with the ring, and 3 on the A string with the index, and do a down, up on this chord. Another version of A minor 7. That's our second version of A minor 7. So that means you should know 3 because all open is A minor 7. But anyways, with this A minor 7 here, 0, 4, 5, 3, we're going to do the same down, up, down, up. So measure 21 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And measures 20 and 21 together should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And then it goes on to measures 22 and 23. And I say them together because measures 22 and 23 are exactly the same as measures 18 and 19. If you remember back, that's the D minor here and here, this sound, and the B flat. It's exactly the same thing as measures 18 and 19. So measures 22 and 23 in time, again, identical to 18 and 19, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going on to the little home stretch here of melody B, we're going to play measure 24. It's going to be an F add 9. I love this chord. Middle finger on the 9th fret of the C string, index finger little bar across the 8th fret of the E and the A string. So you want to make sure the the middle finger comes over at this nice steep angle to the fret, while the index finger lies more flat on the E and the A strings. 0, 9, 8, 8. We're going to do a down strum here. And then we're going to do the single note G. And then we're going to do a down strum with 10 added on the ring finger. So leave these fingers where they're at. Just add the 10. And then after we've done that, it gets a little tricky here. We're going to do a pull off with the ring finger. So pluck the string with the ring finger down to the 8th fret of the A string. And as you do that, set up finger picking. So you've done the strum there. You're going to do the pull off. As you do the pull off, see how my hand is getting ready to finger pick? Because then it's going to pluck the E and the C. So measure 24, a little bit confusing. Looks like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and... From here we go on to measure 25. We're going to jump all the way down. I think this is the most difficult transition of the song because we're here at 9, so we got to slide all the way down. 0 on the G, 1 on the C with the index finger, 4 on the A with the pinky finger. So we have 0, 1, 0, 4. Do a downstroke here. Then we're going to do another downstroke, just moving this up 1 fret to 2 and 5. Another downstroke, moving this up 2 frets to 4 and 7. And then another downstroke, moving this up 3 frets to 7 and 10. So measure 25 in time looks something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... At this point, it actually restarts. But before we talk about that, measure 24 and 25 together should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now at this point, we go back to the beginning of the song. We actually go to melody A again. So let's go ahead and hear what all of melody B should sound like together. It should be something like this, starting with measure 10, going all the way through 25. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Little fermata at the end, so we hold that a little longer. From here we go back through and we play melody A again. And we go through melody A and we go all the way to measure 7. And then instead of playing measure 8 again, we go on to measure 26 for the very end of the song. So at that point, measure 26 is actually pretty basic. It's really fun to play. You're going to start with an A chord, 2, 1, 0, 0. Same way we played it before, middle and index finger here, down. Then we're gonna come up with the ring finger added on 2 of the C string, up. Then we're gonna go down on 4, 4, 0, 0, taking these 2 and sliding up 2 frets. We're gonna come up on 6, 6, take these 2, slide them up 2 frets. And we're gonna end going up to 9, 9, these 2 sliding up 3 more frets. To end with that 9, 9, 0, 0. So in time, measure 26 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so that you can hear it, I'm going to play into that measure 26. I'm going to take melody A. I'm going to play measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then go on to 26 to end it. So it's that last run through of melody A. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice little end. And there you have it. Bringing the camera back up to me. That is strumming etude number 3. A lot of fun to play. Remember, keep that strumming hand moving the whole time. As long as you keep that movement, you're going to be golden throughout the entire tune, except for when it finger picks on measure 24. That's the only time that this should ever be diverged from. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'll look forward to seeing you next time on the next lesson here on Rock Class 101. Thanks so much.
Alright guys, so this week's ukulele lesson was a lot of fun. This is a great strumming piece, and it actually serves as a great intro to chord melody. So most of the time when we think of chord melody, we're thinking fingerstyle playing. And if you're a strummer by heart, you know, it's hard to just jump into a completely different style of playing. So this is a nice introduction to playing chord melody from a strumming perspective. Now I wanted to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, that was available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for strumming etude number 3. Don't forget on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, watch that tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections slowed down, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed learning this tune, and we'll catch you in the next lesson. Take care.